Say my name.
Breaking Bad is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. From public indecency to kidnapping to the distribution of methamphetamines, this fella's gaslighting in human form. And it's no secret that he never actually serves any time in jail because, he's dead. But this got me curious. Let's imagine the scenario where every criminal gets arrested for the exact crimes they commit. How long would Walter White go to prison if he survived? Literally in the first episode, Walter commits failure to report a crime, destruction of property, assault and battery, the manufacturing of methamphetamines, 1 count of manslaughter using a chemical weapon, and 1 count of attempted murder by the same means. Okay, I might have to separate these. So moving forward, I'll separate this: miscellaneous crimes, crimes against his family, and crimes as Heisenberg. So miscellaneous crimes are just the ones that don't really fit into a certain category. For instance, when Walt burnt that guy's car in season 1, that's a form of arson which carries a sentence of 3 years. When he snuck into Gretchen and Elliot's homes, he performed an act of breaking and entering, that's 18 months. For throwing the pizza on the roof, he could get a charge of criminal damaging a property, which it's only a fine unless it's a damage over $1,000, which I'll spend way too long on this if I calculate fines too, so let's just say the pepperoni grease damaged the shingles, 18 months. Falsely reporting a criminal incident, that's 6 months to a year. Each time he obstructed one of Hank's investigations, he was committing criminal obstruction, that's a year. Reckless driving and speeding, that carries a sentence of 90 days. Countless counts of bribery and intimidation of a witness. Because it's countless, I'll just give 3 years for Skyler, 3 years for Hank, and 3 years for Jesse. All of those guns with the scratched off serial numbers makes a possession of a prohibited weapon charge, which carries a sentence of 3 years. Remember, everything in his original lab was stolen from the school he worked at, so theft, 9 years. On that same note, a janitor was arrested for that, which while I couldn't find a sentence for that, it's not very nice. After he and Jesse go missing with Tuco in Mexico, Walt fakes a fugue state to cover up the lie, so public indecency, 18 months. And capping off his miscellaneous crimes, absolutely, of course, the involuntary manslaughter by gross negligence of Jane Margolis, 18 months in prison. Going into the crimes against his family, these crimes include, but are not limited to, evading law enforcement, 18 months in prison, kidnapping. Even though Holly's his own daughter, it's important to remember that he was wanted by the police after assaulting his wife and son. Walter could be charged with kidnapping. Putting her in a safe place after the fact changes the charge from a first-degree felony to a second-degree felony, which gives him 9 years in prison. In that same vein, child abuse, 3 years. Blackmail, 3 years in prison, and finally, sexual assault. With how things ended, I think we forget that Walter forced himself onto Skyler in season 2. Spousal rape carries the same charge as any other rape charge, and in turn can carry a sentence of 18 years. The list of crimes he's committed against his family isn't as big, but for a man who claims to do it all for them,
stop the cap.
They're kind of big enough. What's crazy is people will still tell you that Skyler's at fault. Like, I understand she's unpopular, but like,
Are you serious, my brother?
despite all of this, the heaviest sins on Walter's plate would have been under his time as Heisenberg. That's no secret. But Zooey Mama!
Zooey Mama!
This portion is crazy. Please hold on. Season 4 ends with him poisoning Jesse's stepson Brock. That proves an intent to harm. So in this instance of child abuse, 9 years. The manufacturing of illegal explosives to kill Gus Fring is a 4th-degree felony, which carries a charge of 18 months. Another charge of kidnapping, this time with an officer of the law, Crazy 8. 18 years. Grand larceny, 9 years. When he sends Jesse to kill Gail Bedecker, that's 1 count of contract killing. When he sends the Nazis to assassinate Gus's former employees, that adds 10. When he hires them to protect him from the DEA and Jesse Pinkman, that adds 2 more with 1 attempted. That is a life imprisonment sentence for each. Early on, when they melt the body of Crazy 8, that counts as an act of disturbing human remains, 18 months. Drug trafficking, 9 years. And destroying the hospital after killing Gus Fring, that carries a destruction of property charge of 18 months. Drug possession, 18 months. Evidence tampering, 3 years. Money laundering, 9 years. Obstruction of justice, 1 year. Evading arrest for 6 months, ironically, 1 year. A lot of tax evasion. A lot of tax evasion. It says for tax evasion you can get a maximum of 5 years or a fine of $100,000, but what if I owe tax son $87 million?
I have no earthly idea. I truly don't.
A lot of murder. In fact, for each of them, Emilio Koyama, 2nd-degree manslaughter, 15 years. Domingo Molina, an officer of the law, first-degree murder, life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. 2 of Gus's partners, first-degree murder, life imprisonment with the possibility of parole. Hector Salamanca, first-degree murder. Gus Fring, first-degree murder. Tyrus Kidd, first-degree murder. 2 of Gus's henchmen, first-degree murder. Mike Ehrmantraut, first-degree murder. He is directly responsible for the deaths of ASAC Hank Schrader and his partner Stephen Gomez, contract killing. Jack Welker and 5 members of his neo-Nazi gang. First-degree murder, life imprisonment without the possibility of parole for each of them. And of course, the final spoken word of Breaking Bad.
Oh my God. Goodbye, Lydia.
First-degree murder, life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. That is not even counting the deaths he's indirectly responsible for, like the 747 over Albuquerque. So for his sentence, how long would Heisenberg actually go to jail for? Walter White lives in the state of New Mexico, so all of these sentences will be according to statutes for the New Mexican law. While there is a chance that he wouldn't get the maximum penalty for some of these crimes, seeing as Heisenberg becomes one of the most prolific criminals in American history, I think it's a safe bet the government would throw the book at him. It's important to note that for some of these crimes, he's already evaded any sort of sentencing for them. Take the public indecency, for instance, so we won't count them towards the tally. But with that being said, can I get a drum roll, please? Walter White's final sentence is... $961 years and 90 days.
Oh my God!
Gosh, darn, Walt. Is that
State Penitentiary?
Now, I am no lawyer, but I can tell you that's a pretty long time. That's not even counting the many times he crossed state lines and even country lines. Though despite that, after everything is said and done, Walter White lived his life to the fullest. I didn't say it was good. With that being said, I can't help but feel like I'm missing some crimes. If you know of any I didn't take into account, then you can comment them. I actually read them pretty regular. They make my day. Plus, I'm probably on a watch list of some sort after all these Google searches, so I'm probably gonna need some support. So if you enjoyed this video, subscribe. I have a goal to upload something new every week on Mondays, and you never know, you just might like it. You matter, and I love you. Goodbye.